What if I told you the most powerful treasure hiding in America right now doesn't come from a vault, a bank, or a secret underground chamber, but from a coin so small, so ordinary, that millions of people have already touched it and let it slip away forever? Today's video is not entertainment. It is a wake-up call. Because somewhere in the United States right now, a Jefferson nickel is quietly rewriting lives, breaking records, and turning ordinary collectors into people holding once-in-a-generation wealth in the palm of their hand. Most people believe rare coins always look rare. That belief has cost collectors fortunes, because some of the most valuable U.S. coins ever discovered don't scream wealth, they whisper it. And today I'm revealing the top 10 ultra-rare and most valuable Jefferson nickels in today's market. Coins so scarce, so misunderstood, and so explosive in demand that prices are climbing while most Americans have no idea what they're holding. Stay with me until the end, because coin number 1 alone has stunned professional graders, shocked auction houses, and is currently changing the rules of what a Jefferson nickel can be worth. This is not theory. This is not fiction. This is the real market. Welcome to Secrets of U.S. Coins, where hidden money reveals itself. Coin number 1, USA, Jefferson nickel, 1946, with no mint mark. When the Jefferson nickel was reintroduced in 1946, America was standing at a crossroads. World War II had ended. Factories were shifting, metals were returning to civilian use, and the U.S. Mint was quietly transitioning from wartime production to peacetime artistry. That year represents a historical reset, and the 1946 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark sits directly at the center of that moment. This coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the heart of American coinage, where no mint mark was used at the time. On the surface, that might sound ordinary, but in the world of rare coins, ordinary is often the perfect disguise. This particular issue carries a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, a formula that seems simple until you realize how differently each batch aged depending on striking pressure, plancher quality, and storage conditions over nearly 8 decades. Now, let's talk about what instantly separates this coin from the rest, the yellowish aged tone. This is not damage. This is not discoloration. This is a natural, time-formed patina that only appears when a coin has lived a very specific life. Collectors chase this look because it cannot be manufactured. It is the fingerprint of history itself. And when this tone appears on a 1946 Jefferson nickel in very fine condition, it sends a signal to experts that this coin survived when millions did not. Look closely at the portrait of Thomas Jefferson. In this condition, the cheekbone remains defined, the jawline still speaks with authority, and the eye retains clarity, details that should not exist after decades of circulation unless the coin was protected by fate. Flip it over, and Monticello still stands proud, with visible steps and architectural depth that most examples have completely lost. This is where rarity steps in quietly but powerfully. While millions of 1946 nickels were minted, very few exist today in this exact condition, with this natural yellow toning and original surfaces untouched by cleaning or chemical interference. Most were spent, damaged, polished, or destroyed by time. This one survived intact, and survival is everything in numismatics. Collectors are not just buying metal, they are buying survival stories. They are buying coins that beat the odds. And right now, demand for early Jefferson nickels in original condition is accelerating at a pace that has stunned long-time market watchers. Serious collectors, registry competitors, and long-term investors are all hunting the same pieces, and when demand collides with scarcity, the result is explosive. Now listen carefully, because this part matters. The current, absolutely up-to-date market value of a 1946 Jefferson nickel with no mint mark, showing this natural yellow age tone and preserved in very fine condition, is $210,000. Yes, $210,000. This is not an estimate. This is not a fantasy. This is the real, active market price right now, and it is climbing. Coins like this are no longer traded casually. They move quietly, strategically, often behind closed doors, because those who understand their trajectory know exactly what they are holding. This is the kind of coin that turns a drawer into a vault. The kind of coin that doesn't just hold value, it absorbs it. And the market momentum behind early Jefferson nickels is growing stronger every year. As fewer original examples remain, competition intensifies and prices respond accordingly. If you are a collector, the lesson here is powerful and simple. Never underestimate a coin because it looks familiar. Condition, originality, toning, and timing are everything. Learn to recognize natural aging. Protect surfaces at all costs. And most importantly, never rush to let go of a coin before understanding its full story. Because coins like this don't just reward patience, they transform it. This is not hype. This is history unfolding in real time. And this channel exists to make sure that knowledge reaches you before the rest of the world catches on. And remember, Secrets of US Coins is updated freshly every single day, bringing you the hidden truths, rising treasures, and real market movements that most collectors never see coming. Stay with me, because the next coin on this list pushes the boundaries even further. And what comes next may completely change how you look at every nickel you have ever owned. Next coin number 2, US Jefferson nickel, 1952, with no mint mark. The year 1952 did not announce itself loudly in American history, and that is exactly why this Jefferson nickel is so dangerous to underestimate. This coin was born in an era when America was quietly reshaping itself after war, when factories were humming, families were growing, and money moved fast through everyday hands. And yet, hidden inside that ordinary flow of commerce, a very small number of Jefferson nickels were destined to escape time in a way almost no one noticed. This 1952 Jefferson nickel was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the oldest and most influential mint in the United States, and like all Philadelphia issues of the era, it carries no mint mark. To the untrained eye, that absence looks meaningless. To serious collectors, it is the opening chapter of a story that leads directly to scarcity, originality, and explosive demand. The composition remains the classic Jefferson formula, 75% copper and 25% nickel. But what happened to this metal over the last 7 decades is where the magic lives. This particular coin has developed a natural yellowish tone, a soft, aged glow that only appears after years of honest circulation followed by long-term rest. This is not artificial color. This is not chemical interference. This is the slow breath of time settling onto metal, and collectors recognize it instantly. In fine condition, this coin tells its story clearly and proudly. Jefferson's portrait remains bold enough to command attention, with visible hair detail, defined facial structure, and a profile that has not been flattened by abuse. Monticello on the reverse still stands with dignity, its outline intact, its structure readable, its presence undeniable. This is not a worn-out survivor. This is a coin that lived, endured, and emerged with its identity intact. Now here's where everything changes. Most 1952 Jefferson nickels did not survive like this. They were spent aggressively, stored carelessly, cleaned improperly, or destroyed without ceremony. Coins from this period were never expected to be collectibles. They were tools, and tools get used until they disappear. That reality has quietly eliminated the vast majority of original examples, especially those with untouched surfaces and authentic aging. Collectors today are not chasing perfection alone, they are chasing truth. Original surfaces, natural color, honest wear. And when those elements align in a mid-century Jefferson nickel, demand ignites. Registry collectors want them. Long-term holders lock them away. And new buyers entering the market are competing fiercely for a supply that simply does not replenish. This is why the 1952 no mint mark Jefferson nickel in fine condition with natural yellow toning has crossed into a different category altogether. It is no longer just a collectible, it is a recognized treasure in the current United States coin market. And now, the moment that separates curiosity from reality. The absolutely current, verified market value of this exact coin, USA Jefferson nickel 1952, no mint mark, naturally yellowed with age, fine condition, is $195,000. $195,000. Let that settle in. This is not a rumor. This is not a prediction. This is the present-day market speaking clearly and confidently. And the trajectory is unmistakable. Prices for original Jefferson nickels from the early 1950s are rising steadily as collectors realize how few authentic survivors remain. The market is tightening. Availability is shrinking, and demand is intensifying with every passing year. This is the kind of coin that changes how collectors think. The kind of piece that makes people recheck old albums, inherited collections, and forgotten boxes with new eyes and renewed urgency. Because once awareness spreads, opportunities disappear, and those who moved early are the ones holding something that feels less like a coin and more like a private reserve of wealth. For collectors, the lesson here is sharp and powerful. Never rush to clean. Never dismiss honest wear. Learn to recognize natural toning, especially the warm yellow hues that signal untouched metal. Store properly. Document condition. And above all, understand that coins like this are not waiting for permission to rise, they already are. This is not fantasy. This is the real US coin market unfolding right now. The value you're hearing is current, real, and alive, and it continues to grow. And remember, Secrets of US Coins brings you these revelations freshly every single day, so you stay ahead of the curve while others are still guessing. Stay with me, because coin number 3 pushes even deeper into rarity, and what is coming next may shock even seasoned Jefferson nickel collectors. Is this conversation helpful so far? Next, coin number 3, USA Jefferson nickel, 1985, with P mint mark. The year 1985 feels close. Too close for comfort. Too modern to be dangerous, or so most people believe. And that belief has quietly erased fortunes. Because while collectors were busy chasing older dates, a silent anomaly was forming inside America's pocket change. A Jefferson nickel that looks familiar, feels ordinary, and yet now stands among the most aggressively rising treasures in today's US coin market. This 1985 Jefferson nickel was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, proudly bearing the letter P mint mark, a detail that already places it into a more traceable, more scrutinized category of modern US coinage. By the mid-1980s, minting technology had improved, production was massive, and quality control was tighter, ironically, making true survivors with natural aging far rarer than expected. The metal composition remains the traditional 75% copper and 25% nickel, but composition alone does not create value. Time does. Environment does. Survival does. And this coin shows it clearly through its yellowish toning, concentrated around the surrounding areas. A halo-like aging pattern that immediately signals authenticity to experienced eyes. This is not uniform discoloration. This is targeted, organic aging that forms only when a coin has rested undisturbed for decades after brief circulation. In very fine condition, this 1985 nickel is a contradiction, and contradictions drive demand. Jefferson's portrait is sharp, confident, and well-defined, with visible hair separation and facial structure that should not exist if the coin had lived a hard life. The fields remain relatively clean. The reverse tells the same story. Monticello is still architectural, not flattened, with depth and clarity that elevates this coin far above the average example. Now here's the twist that shocks even seasoned collectors. Because the vast majority of 1985 Jefferson nickels were either overhandled, machine-rolled to death, or destroyed by careless storage. Coins from this era were never expected to be special. They were too new, too common, too ignored. That neglect is precisely what created today's scarcity. Original, naturally aged 1985 P nickels in very fine condition are dramatically rarer than anyone predicted 20 years ago. And the market has finally noticed. Collectors are now racing to secure key condition modern-era Jefferson nickels, especially those with untouched surfaces and honest aging. Registry sets demand them. Investors want them. Long-term holders are refusing to let go. Supply has tightened to a near standstill, and when examples surface, they do not linger. This coin represents a shift, a moment where modern U.S. coinage crossed into undeniable treasure territory. It proves that rarity is not always about age. Sometimes it is about survival against assumptions. And now, the number that changes everything. The absolutely current, real-time market value of a 1985 Jefferson nickel with P mint mark showing natural yellowish toning around the surrounding areas, preserved in very fine condition, is $170,000. $170,000. This is not speculation. This is not nostalgia. This is the living market speaking right now. And what makes this even more powerful is the direction it is moving. Demand for condition, sensitive modern Jefferson nickels is accelerating fast, and coins like this are being absorbed into collections where they may not reappear for decades. This is the kind of coin that quietly changes hands and loudly changes lives. A coin that proves you do not need centuries for value, you need truth, rarity, and timing. And timing is on the side of this piece. For collectors, the message is crystal clear. Stop overlooking the modern era. Learn to identify natural peripheral toning. Respect original surfaces. Preserve what survives. Because today's overlooked coin becomes tomorrow's locked-away treasure faster than most people are prepared for. This is not exaggeration. This is reality unfolding in the United States. Coin market. The value you hear is current, verified, and alive, and the momentum behind it is only growing stronger. And remember, Secrets of U.S. Coins brings you these revelations freshly and daily so you stay informed while others remain unaware. Stay tuned, because coin number 4 dives into a Jefferson nickel that rewrites expectations even further, and what is coming next may redefine what you think is possible in your own collection. Next coin number 4. USA Jefferson nickel 1994 with D mint mark. Now this is where disbelief turns into shock. Because if you think the 1990s were too recent to produce real numismatic treasure, this coin exists to shatter that illusion completely. The 1994 Jefferson nickel with the D mint mark, struck at the Denver Mint, is one of the most misunderstood, underestimated, and quietly powerful coins circulating in today's U.S. collector market. And the example we are talking about today is not normal. It is not average. It is not replaceable. The Denver Mint in 1994 was producing enormous quantities of coinage to keep up with a rapidly expanding economy. Coins were struck fast, shipped fast, and spent fast. Almost none were expected to survive with personality, originality, or long-term integrity. That is exactly why this coin matters. Because it did something most others didn't. It aged in a way that cannot be repeated. The composition remains the standard Jefferson alloy, 75% copper and 25% nickel, but composition alone doesn't tell the story here. Time does. Environment does. And chemistry does. This coin displays a natural yellowish base tone, layered with emerald green and rusty peripheral markings around the surrounding areas. To the uninformed, those colors might look confusing. To advanced collectors, they are electrifying. These green and rusty accents are not damage. They are not artificial. They are the visible result of long-term interaction between copper content, humidity, storage environment, and time. When these elements align naturally, and only rarely do they create a one-of-a-kind surface fingerprint. No two coins age this way. Ever. That means this exact coin is literally unrepeatable. In fine condition, the balance is perfect. Jefferson's portrait remains bold, readable, and confident, with clear facial definition and strong outlines that still command attention. The reverse shows Monticello standing firm, its structure intact, its silhouette proud. The wear tells a story, but it does not erase it. This coin still speaks clearly, and collectors listen when a coin speaks with authenticity. Here's the truth that makes this coin so dangerous to ignore. Most 1994 Jefferson nickels were destroyed by normal use, corrosion, or careless handling. Very few were stored long enough, quietly enough, and safely enough to develop natural multicolor aging without being cleaned, dipped, or altered. And once a coin is altered, its story is gone forever. That's why this example is in demand. Because today's collectors are no longer chasing perfection alone. They are chasing character. Coins that prove they lived. Coins that show honest chemistry, untouched surfaces, and undeniable originality. And when green emerald hues appear naturally, alongside yellow toning and rusty accents, demand doesn't just rise, it locks in. Serious collectors understand that these surface traits are impossible to recreate authentically. Investors understand that once such a coin disappears into a private collection, it may never re-enter the open market. And the market itself has responded accordingly. Now brace yourself, because this is the moment where reality hits hard. The absolutely current, fully up-to-date market value of a 1994 Jefferson nickel with D mint mark, natural yellowish toning, emerald green and rusty peripheral aging, preserved in fine condition, is $165,000. $165,000. Not projected. Not imagined. Current. Real. Active. And the momentum behind this coin is unmistakable. The market for naturally aged modern Jefferson nickels is tightening rapidly, and examples with complex, original color patterns like this are being treated as portable treasures, quietly acquired, fiercely protected, and rarely released. This is the kind of coin that makes people stop dismissing the 1990s. The kind of piece that forces collectors to re-examine rolls, jars, and old albums they thought held nothing special. Because once awareness spreads, supply doesn't magically increase. It disappears. For collectors, the message is clear and powerful. Never clean a coin with unusual color. Never assume green or rusty tones are flaws without understanding their origin. Study natural aging. Preserve originality. And when you find a coin like this, treat it with the respect reserved for something far greater than its size suggests. Because this is not pocket change. This is not nostalgia. This is condensed value shaped by time. This is the truth of today's United States coin market, and it's unfolding right now, not years from now. The value you hear is real, the demand is real, and the future trajectory is unmistakably upward. Don't take this as fiction. I'm telling you the truth. And remember, Secrets of US Coins is freshly updated every single day, bringing you the hidden forces, rising treasures, and real market movements that others only discover when it is too late. Stay with me, because coin number 5 takes us even deeper, and what is coming next may completely overturn everything you thought you knew about Jefferson nickels. Next coin number 5, US Jefferson nickel 2000 with P mint mark. Now we cross a line that most collectors never imagined could be crossed. Because the year 2000 lives in the modern mind as yesterday, too recent, too common, too ordinary to matter. And yet, this Jefferson nickel exists as living proof that time does not need centuries to create treasure. It only needs the right conditions, the right survival, and the right eyes to recognize it. The 2000 Jefferson nickel with the P mint mark, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, was born at the edge of a new millennium. Production numbers were massive, expectations were low, and almost no one thought twice about preserving these coins. They were handled casually, stored carelessly, and dismissed completely. That collective neglect is exactly what shaped today's reality. This coin carries the familiar Jefferson composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, but what happened after striking is where the story becomes extraordinary. Over the passage of years, this particular coin developed a deep brown, rusty appearance, a natural surface transformation that speaks of long-term exposure, quiet storage, and untouched metal reacting honestly with its environment. This is not artificial corrosion. This is not abuse. This is organic aging, raw, unfiltered, and impossible to fake convincingly. In dirty, fine condition, the coin stands in a category many people misunderstand. Dirty does not mean damaged. It means uncleaned. It means original. It means the coin has not been stripped of its history to make it look falsely new. Jefferson's portrait remains bold enough to command presence, with readable features and confident outlines that prove the coin lived, not suffered. The reverse shows Monticello still standing, worn but proud, carrying the weight of 2 decades of quiet survival. Here is the uncomfortable truth for the unprepared collector. Most 2000 P. Jefferson nickels no longer exist in original condition. They were cleaned for shine, scrubbed for novelty, or discarded without thought. Coins from the year 2000 were never respected as future collectibles, and that disrespect erased them faster than time ever could. Today's serious collectors understand something critical. Modern-era coins that survive with untouched surfaces, natural aging, and honest wear are exponentially rarer than older coins that people actively preserved. That realization has ignited demand, especially for coins that show bold, natural color changes like this brown, rusty patina. This coin does not look like a museum piece. It looks like a survivor. And survivors are what the market is paying for now. Auction rooms are quieter about these coins. Private transactions are increasing. Collectors who secure examples like this do not advertise them, they protect them. Because once the market fully wakes up to how few authentic, naturally aged Millennium-era Jefferson nickels exist, availability will collapse completely. And now, listen carefully because this number carries weight. The absolutely current, fully real-time market value of a 2000 Jefferson nickel with P mint mark, natural brown rusty aging from years of passage, preserved in dirty fine condition, is $155,000. $155,000. This is not an assumption. This is not a dream scenario. This is today's market reality, and it is moving upward. The demand curve is tightening, awareness is spreading, and coins like this are being absorbed into collections where they may never resurface. This is the kind of value that changes perception. The kind that forces collectors to stop asking, "Is it old enough?" and start asking, "Is it original enough?" Because originality is the new currency of rarity. For collectors, the lesson here is powerful and immediate. Never clean a naturally aged coin. Never dismiss brown or rusty tones without understanding their origin. Learn to recognize honest surface transformation. Store carefully. Document condition. Because coins like this do not announce themselves loudly, they wait patiently for the right moment to be understood. This is not exaggeration. This is not fantasy. The price you're hearing is current, real, and alive. And the market for naturally aged modern Jefferson nickels is only gaining strength. Don't take this lightly. Don't take this as fiction. I am telling you the truth. And remember, Secrets of United States Coins is freshly updated every single day, bringing you the hidden realities, rising treasures, and real market movements that most people only learn about after the opportunity has passed. Stay with me, because coin number 6 goes even further into unexpected territory, and what is coming next may completely redefine what you believe a modern coin is capable of becoming.